it is a beautiful day. First things first, it really is actually a beautiful day. Check it out, check it out. There's no clouds in the sky. And the second thing is just a warning. I am not trying to offend you or anyone with this video. Some people might be offended, so just a warning. All I'm trying to do is help you make more money, and this word changed my entire life. So I'm not trying to make you believe anything. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just sharing with you the one word that changed my entire financial life. It went from my wife being in credit card debt and me just barely being able to scrape by to us creating the life of our dreams using this one word. So that's all I'm trying to do in this video, is just help you make a little bit more of that money. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you hit the like button on this video, comment down below. Yes, I'm ready to receive abundance, and let's dive right into this video. Now, I just want to start off this video by saying that I used to believe that money didn't equal freedom. It didn't equal happiness. And I used to believe that you were more spiritual if you had less money. I almost thought that God created money just so we could have our spiritual practice to realize that we don't really need it. But then reality set in when I wanted to go on trips, and I wanted to go in the summer and hike through the Canadian mountains, and I wanted to go do cool stuff that was all part of God's creation, but I wasn't able to do it. And then I started saying things like, I need money. But with money, needy is creepy. So all I was doing was pushing it further and further and further and further and further away, and going further and further and further and further within my own mind, within my own thoughts, within my own rationalizations as to why things were the way that they were. I would say, I need money. I want money. Why can't we just have a world without money? And then I met a mentor. And my mentor said something to me that changed my life. He said this word. And this is why I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not trying to offend anyone in this video, but this word changed my entire life. God. Alan Watts says you can't get wet by the word water, so you can call it anything that you want. But let's take a look at this chart here, right? So we have self and God on one side. So self is limited, linear, doubt, and fear. God is infinite, non-linear, abundant, and all-knowing. And my mentor said to me, why don't you start calling God into your life? Why don't you start saying, God's wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance? Why don't you start saying, God's wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance? Why don't you start looking at everything you want as really a desire to experience more of God's creation? Why don't you start looking at it as your right to be rich, because it's really just experiencing about more of God's creation. And instead of trying to figure it out all out on your own in your little mind, trying to go, well, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Why don't I call on God? So look at this. God is infinite. And what is money? Money is just energy. That's all money is. And what is anything else? It's just energy. And what is God? It is an infinite source of all creative energy. So in essence, abundance in the physical realm is infinite in nature, and money follows that same trajectory when we get out of self and we get out of our ego and we get out of our own rationalizations and our own self-image, and we call on the infinite abundance of God. It's non-linear versus linear. Now, what do I mean by that? My mentor said, well, why don't you try a challenge? Why don't you try to turn your annual income into your monthly income? And that's a good challenge to do for you, not for the sake of getting the number, but as a thought experiment. Like, how much are we really holding ourselves back? Not only financially, but everywhere else in our life. How much of our perceived limitations are really self-imposed walls that we've created from our own projections of our own consciousness, from our own deep down perceptions that we have about yourself, the perceptions you have about money, the perceptions you have about your skills and what you're worthy of? How much of that controls linear function? You know, I used to think, well, okay, I make $2,000 a month. I'm going to try to make $2,500. That's linear. Albert Einstein said that logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you anywhere. And imagination is the mind of God that we are able to harness and channel in third dimension. So it moves nonlinear. When you call God the abundance of God, into your life, you start to move non-linear. All of a sudden, you can turn your annual income into your monthly income. All of a sudden, instead of going from $2,000 to $2,500, you go from $2,000 to $4,000. You double it. There's no reason you can't double it. We live in an infinite world. It's just that we are determining what we're capable of based off of self. You have to let go of self, which turns into self-realization. Who are you really? Well, if everything is energy, money is energy, who are you? You're a spiritual being in a physical body, and your physical body is a rental car that's housing your soul for you to learn certain spiritual lessons while you're here on earth. And yours are different than mine. Yours might be about learning to receive. Yours might be about getting rid of your past. Maybe you believe you aren't good enough to make money because of your past. Yours are different than mine. Now, God is abundant and all-knowing. That's the important part. It is all-knowing. When you call God, when you call financial abundance into your life, guess what? You don't have to figure the whole thing out. When you have a big dream and you write your book and you start your business and you go for it, what happens a lot of time is we're looking at it from the limited lens of self. And we go, well, I don't know how. I don't have this resource. I don't have that resource. But when you literally let go of the idea that you even need to figure it out on your own, what happens? It becomes an act of faith. Attracting non-linear sums of money, meaning significantly more than you're making now, just becomes an exercise in spiritual faith. It doesn't mean you sit on your couch and do nothing. It just means that you recognize you aren't the one that's going to figure every detail out. And so what I started to do was call God into everything that I was doing financially. I started saying, God's wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. I started saying, God opens every single door in my life. Every single opportunity flows to me with God's perfect timing. I started saying things like, I'm getting rich. I'm making others rich. I'm constantly in tune with the infinite and the substance of wealth. So what I did was, instead of looking at money as some physical object that unfortunately we have to have in this reality, and then I just need enough to live. And then on Sundays and Saturdays and on meditation and yoga time and church time, that's when I connect to God. I started seeing it as one giant piece, that it was all God, that money was God. And really my desire for more life, my desire to travel where I wanted, to live where I wanted, to have the freedom that I wanted, to fulfill my dreams and the financial resources necessary to do those. I started looking at all those desires as really God moving through me, wanting me to experience more life. And guess what? The actual word desire comes from the Latin word. It means from the Father, that your desire is literally God speaking through you. Understand, it is right, it is natural, and you are good enough, you are smart enough. In fact, you are meant to experience more life. But it's hard to do it when you're looking at it from the lens of self. So start to call God into your affirmation. Say, God's wealth flows to me in avalanches of financial abundance. I'm in tune with the infinite substance of wealth. Every day I'm getting richer. I'm making others rich. I'm constantly in tune with the infinite substance of wealth. God blesses my life with financial miracles. So that's about it for today's video. The number one word is God. And when you bring God into your financial life and you let go of figuring it out on your own and you call that abundance in and you understand what are the qualities of God, what are the qualities of spirit, what are the qualities of infinite energy. It's for constant expansion. It's miracles constantly. It's non-linear. There are no limitations. There are no issues that higher power cannot resolve if you can just get out of your own way and start saying, I'm a spiritual being in a physical body. I'm one with God. I'm worthy of everything that I desire. I call upon that powerful spirit to guide and direct my life. And if you want to amplify that, make sure you get my free success hypnosis. It's right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's my free success hypnosis that I started to use to reprogram my subconscious mind and eliminate all those crappy belief systems that we inherited from the world. It changed my life forever, and you can use it for free right there down below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification, all that fun stuff to send it out into the YouTube universe. You can give me a comment down below that says, I'm ready to receive God's wealth, and I'll see you on the next video.